My first time trying to smoke a clay pipe. Welcome back to the kitchen. I almost can't contain my excitement for today's episode because in here we've got 4 new clay pipes. So this is going to be, the first part of the video is going to be just a quick unwrapping so I can show you, not an unboxing because they're wrapped. So this is an unwrapping. So yeah, I'm going to show you what I've got quickly, and then we're going to go out, find a nice spot, and I'm going to smoke a couple of these and tell you my experience. I have already had a look at them, so you know, full disclosure, but I'm going to quickly unwrap them and then we're going to go and try and smoke a couple. I've never smoked a clay pipe, never even really tried one, so yeah, let's get into it. Okay, what we do one at a time. Hopefully the noise of the paper is not too annoying, so we'll start with this one. I do apologise if this rustling is super annoying. Okay. This is the smallest one, from what I can feel. Isn't that beautiful? The maker's mark on the bottom. I believe this is called the foot, but yeah. A nice little, I don't know what they call that really. Is it herringbone or something? I don't know what they do. They just run, I think, a little thing around it to give it that little detail. And you may notice that I've got this set on a tea towel from Lou. That's because the artist that made these, a lovely lady called Heather Deona. She's actually from Devon. I did quite a bit of research before I bought these, and yeah, people spoke about how good the quality of her pipes are, and having done a lot of ceramics myself, I can see, because she's burnished all of these, so a lot of people have to sand their clay pipes down when they get them to make them usable, because this is like sandpaper. But hers, when you burnish something, you take a piece of wood or something flat and you smooth it out, and then you take a sponge and you run it over it, so it gives it almost like a very shiny, non-porous, smooth finish, which is obviously, you're putting your mouth onto this, it's much better. I have actually got a little bit of lip seal, which I'm going to use when I smoke these, because I've got to find a way to maybe seal these with wax on the end so that they don't sort of damage your teeth or dry out your mouth too much. So I'm going to see how it goes anyway. I'll try this, and maybe in the future I can try and put some wax on these or something. But yeah, it's a beautiful, just a classic shape. I'm not a great historian on these or anything, so yeah, we have to learn as we go with this. But that's the first one. Second one. Isn't that fantastic? Very unique shape, this, where it sort of bulges here and then goes in at the top. I'm not really sure why they would have designed it like that. I'm going to have to learn about that, but yeah, this one also has the maker's mark, slightly longer, as you can see, and I actually prefer the slightly longer pipes, but I don't know, maybe there's a reason why they often made them shorter. And again, you can put all of these down like that, which is quite handy, so it's lovely. Yeah, just talking about Heather again, I would actually like to recommend you go and, you know, check out her website and things like that, but I'm not actually allowed to do that because I was listening to the Vaping Piper talk yesterday about channels doing content and advertising and things like that, and if you even mention something like that now, you have your video taken down, he was saying. So yeah, I mean, her studio, I'm still going to say it anyway, I'm going to risk it. Her studio is called Studio Deona, and it's Heather Deona, so you can email her if you're interested. And yeah, this one, I absolutely love this one. This is called a Druid's Head. All of her pipes have I think these are done by time period, So they're sort of like 16 something, I can't remember now off the top of my head, 1638 or something like that, the different pipes. And then this one is a Druid's Head, which I just think is absolutely marvellous. Again, lovely quality. You've got her maker's mark there on this one. She obviously couldn't put it on doesn't have a foot. So, but yeah, the detail in this is lovely, and I quite like the sort of very standardized shape. It's just square almost. Slightly bigger bowl on that one as well, which is nice, but about the same length, slightly shorter than that one, but similar length. Also really lovely. Okay, and then the last one, sorry about the rustling, much bigger one, or not much bigger, but a fair bit bigger. Quite ornate, this one. Surprisingly, it's quite light as well, but this was the longest one she had available at the moment. She does normally make much bigger ones, but she didn't have any, or actually for sale at the moment. Again, little maker's mark there on the foot, and some little detail there, which is nice. Again, little detail there, it's lovely. But yeah, really lovely this one. I think potentially this will probably be my favourite. I don't know, I need to try, but yeah, nice big bowl, biggest by far of all of them, as you can see, significantly bigger, that one. So yeah, really lovely. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to smoke all of them, we're going to go out and have a smoke, but I'll pack 2 of them. I'll do that right now so that maybe we can see what it's like to pack one, because I've never tried to do that. So I think maybe if we do the smallest one and maybe the smallest one and this one, the biggest one, and then maybe we'll try these on a different episode. So let me pack that now. Got a little bit of Peterson My Mixture 965. It's just a bit clumped together. I'm not sure if their tobacco would have been exactly the same as the cut that we're using. Obviously we use ribbon cut. I would be interested if anyone knows, was their tobacco sort of more like a cigarette tobacco where it's much finer to go into something like this, or would it be similar to what we're using with ribbon cut and things like that? A little bit tricky to pack this because it's obviously got such a tiny little bowl. The diameter of the rim is minute. I mean, you can barely even put my little finger in that. Anyway, I'm not going to pack it too tight. Just going to compress it in there a little bit, and then that should be good for that one. I mean, the price of tobacco in the UK now, these might actually be a great option because you can barely fit much in the very little ones compared to a briar pipe. But yeah, this one's much bigger. This is probably more like a similar size to a corn cob, this one. Much easier to pack as well because the opening is not restricted. And I mean, I'd love to get a meerschaum pipe, but yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my ideas around clay pipes. I mean, for me, for most of my life, they've held like so much romanticism because obviously I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, and one of his favourite things was to smoke a clay pipe. Okay, so there you go, 2 packed. So I'll see you in a nice spot somewhere in the countryside. Okay, here we go. My first time trying to smoke a clay pipe. What I'm going to do first of all is just put a little bit of lip seal on the stem where my mouth is going to go. This will help so that my lips won't get too dry. Put a little bit on my lips as well. Hopefully helps the cause. Got a nice cup of tea. Oh, lovely. A little bit windy today, so I'm not sure how this is going to go, whether it's going to be effective still out in the wind, but we'll see. I had to bring a small one of these because I thought probably one of my bigger ones, or even a clipper, it's not going to fit inside the bowl. Very interesting. I can immediately feel the heat in the bowl. Now a lot of people talk about the fact you get no taste. No, it's a very neutral smoke, clay pipe. So a lot of tobacconists actually use these to taste their tobaccos. Very interesting. It's definitely different to a briar pipe. Very enjoyable to use though. I think this is a great length, this one as well. And the taste is lovely. So I was having a few little thoughts about, you know, clay pipes and what they represent. And one of the things I was thinking about is how prolific they used to be. They were everywhere. And what people that used to be part of this industry would think now, they could probably not even imagine when they were, you know, creating these, that one day they'd just basically not exist. They were so prolific. I mean, I guess they were like a vape, weren't they? You know, I've seen people talk about that before. There were so many of them. Still to this day in England, you can find clay pipes, especially the stems, everywhere. Particularly down the Thames. I mean, there's just thousands, millions of them. You get the same sort of thing today, don't you, with a vape? People chuck the canister when they're finished with it. But then I was thinking about the things that we replace. Are they actually better than what we had? And I don't think so. I mean, a vape is a good symbol of a vapid synchronachrome of the clay pipe industry, isn't it? It's not as healthy to smoke a vape. Terrible for the environment. There's really no sort of healthy industry built up around it. Yeah, it's convenient though, I suppose. But this is lovely. I'm really enjoying this. I think it's a good idea to put a little bit of lip seal on the stem, on the mouth bit. Definitely helps. And the taste is very, I don't know really how to explain it. It's sort of got a very clean taste. But lovely, really enjoying that. And I also think it's important to try and support local artists. I wasn't really sure where to get this, but I just did a little bit of research. So I think if you can, support a local artist. Because if people stop doing it completely, it's just going to disappear, isn't it? People will stop making them because there'll be no financial incentive to make them anymore. I've got no affiliation with the lady who I bought this from. She's just a tiny little art studio, I think, in Devon. I think she's from Devon. I might be wrong on that, but it's very easy to keep alight. I would have had to have relit my briar pipe by now. Incredibly easy to smoke, actually. It's lovely. But yeah, I just sent her an email because she didn't. She's got a website, but you can't just click and buy. So I had to sort of give her my order, and then she sent it to me. So even that, I thought was quite nice. You know, there's often no connection, is there, when you buy something? But I had a little chat via email. She was very helpful. And she makes lovely pipes. Yeah, okay, let's try the smaller one, see how we get on with that. Here we go. So I actually transported these in an egg box because obviously the main drawback with a clay pipe is that's quite fragile, so you could break it quite easily. So yeah, I didn't want to do that, especially on my first try. Probably the smaller one is the way to go if you're coming out for a smoke on a walk or something. The bigger one, you've got to be obviously a little bit more careful. I mean, I actually would have loved one of the big, long church warden type pipes, but well, I think they call it a tavern pipe because they used to have a long one and they break it off as they went to keep it clean. But yeah, let's give this a go. Actually, when I was looking online, I thought I wouldn't like these short ones, but looking at them now, they're actually really lovely. It's quite a nice, very tactile and nice to hold. Probably if you were out and about, something like this would be great. It's much more convenient than something like a bigger one. I mean, at home, I think this is where this is going to shine. I'm going to really enjoy using that at home. Okay, so a quick sip of tea. Oh, that's lovely. And that's so small I can't even fit my check tool inside it. Oh no, I can. I lie. Just about goes in there. By literally a hair's width. Now this is lovely. Really enjoyable experience. A little tamp. I love this. This is really nice. You get the taste of the tobacco almost immediately. Obviously got a tiny bit more heat because it's a shorter stem. Not really sure how long this would give you, maybe 20 minutes, I'm not really sure. Obviously it depends how you smoke it, doesn't it? But it's not that hot at the moment. I wouldn't want to hold that, but I probably could if I had to, but yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, but just so imbued with meaning, the clay pipe. And I'm gonna put a little bit of Sherlock Holmes maybe at the end. I've got a Stephen Fry reading. So I'll do that at the end, and you can listen to that as I take a little walk. I really enjoyed making this episode. Thanks ever so much for watching, and catch you in the next one.
In the Sherlock Holmes stories, Arthur Conan Doyle gives us some fascinating descriptions of Holmes and his pipes. In A Case of Identity, Watson describes Holmes sitting quietly after his visitor has left. Sherlock Holmes sat silent for a few minutes, with his fingertips still pressed together, his legs stretched out in front of him, and his gaze directed upward to the ceiling. Then he took down from the rack the old and oily clay pipe, which was to him as a counselor, and having lit it, he leaned back in his chair with the thick blue cloud wreath spinning up from him and a look of infinite languor in his face. In The Red-Headed League, we get the famous three-pipe problem. To smoke, he answered. It is quite a three-pipe problem, and I beg that you won't speak to me for 50 minutes. He curled himself up in his chair with his thin knees drawn up to his hawk-like nose, and there he sat with his eyes closed and his black clay pipe thrusting out like the bill of some strange bird. I had come to the conclusion that he had dropped asleep and indeed was nodding myself, when he suddenly sprang out of his chair with the gesture of a man who has made up his mind and put his pipe down upon the mantelpiece. In The Blue Carbuncle, Holmes reaches for his clay pipe while explaining why he has decided not to pursue the case against Ryder. After all, Watson, said Holmes, reaching up his hand for his clay pipe, I am not retained by the police to supply their deficiencies. If Horner were in danger, it would be another thing. But this fellow will not appear against him, and the case must collapse. I suppose that I am commuting a felony, but it is just possible that I am saving a soul. This fellow will not go wrong again. He is too terribly frightened. Send him to jail now, and you make him a jailbird for life. Besides, it is the season of forgiveness. The Copper Beeches gives us perhaps the most interesting description of all, because Doyle actually tells us about the different purposes of Holmes's pipes. You have erred, perhaps, he observed, taking up a glowing cinder with the tongs and lighting with it the long cherry wood pipe which was wont to replace his clay when he was in a disputatious rather than a meditative mood. You have erred, perhaps, in attempting to put color and life into each of your statements. So, according to Doyle, Holmes's clay pipe was associated with a meditative mood, while his cherry wood pipe was used when he was in a more disputatious mood. In The Hound of the Baskervilles, Watson returns to Baker Street and finds Holmes deep in thought. My first impression as I opened the door was that a fire had broken out, for the room was so filled with smoke that the light of the lamp upon the table was blurred by it. As I entered, however, my fears were set at rest, for it was the acrid fumes of strong, coarse tobacco which took me by the throat and set me coughing. Through the haze, I had a vague vision of Holmes in his dressing gown, coiled up in an armchair with his black clay pipe between his lips. And finally, in The Valley of Fear, Watson again associates Holmes's pipe with intense thought. Holmes had pushed away his breakfast now and filled his old black pipe. When he smoked that evil-smelling thing, I knew that he was thinking with all his strength. Let us reason it out, he said. So throughout the stories, Doyle gives us a surprisingly detailed picture of Sherlock Holmes as a pipe smoker. His clay pipe is repeatedly associated with deep thought and contemplation. His three-pipe problems become almost legendary, and Doyle even tells us that Holmes changed pipes according to his mood. It is a very different image from the famous curved calabash pipe that later became so strongly associated with Sherlock Holmes. Doyle himself describes Holmes with a black, oily clay pipe, and it seems that this humble pipe was an important part of Holmes's process of thinking.